Hi students, just wanted to give a few tips and guidelines on giving a talk or presentation as we get ready to do our first video recording for a grade. First, what I want you to do is actually think about who are some good speakers that you admire. What do they do that makes them good speakers? What do you like about listening to them? How do they move? How do they move their hands? What kind of volume do they use when they speak? How do they use vocabulary to catch your attention? So think about things that good speakers do. How can you duplicate those kinds of things in your own speaking? So one of the first things that I want you to think about as you record yourself on video is watch facial expressions and hand gestures. In a video recording, an audience might not see hand gestures or notice them as much, but it's something to think about as we work toward speaking in front of groups or maybe the entire class. Also think about your facial expressions. These are probably most noticeable to you on video. So as you record yourself, you may want to re-record possibly several times just to make sure that your facial expressions communicate enthusiasm for what you are speaking about. Also, have good eye contact. Even on video, this is very important. So even on video, a listener still wants to see your eyes. So eye contact is very important, and you can monitor this actually quite easily on a video recording. So this is always very important, not only on video recordings, but in life as you're speaking to another person during a job interview, in a department store, with your teacher. Maybe not so much while eating a banana, but in general, having good eye contact is a good rule. Also, even on video, you want to be sure that your posture is, that you have good posture. So good posture means that you are sitting up straight or standing up straight even while you're taking your video. You also want to watch your enthusiasm, your volume, and your rate of speech. So basically, you want to communicate a sense of enthusiasm when you're speaking to someone. This is an example of not being very enthusiastic. This is maybe an example of being too enthusiastic. What you want to do is try to smile politely and communicate that you are excited about your topic. Volume. This is the level of loudness that your speech has. So make sure that your audience can hear you clearly. You may want to replay your video just to be sure that you have good volume. Your rate of speech. You have a minute to a minute and a half for this video presentation assignment. You may want to practice your speech ahead of time so that you ensure that you are not speaking too quickly or too slowly. Your speech really should be at least a minimum of a minute. If you have less than a minute, you will need to add more information or more content to your speech. Some of the things that your teacher will listen for in terms of pronunciation and language is word endings. So for example, if you say, I own a lot of sunglasses, make sure that ES is on there. If you talk in the past, make sure that you pronounce your ED endings clearly. So I'll be listening for your S and ED word endings. I'll also be listening to see if you have good intonation. Intonation means that your speech goes up and down. In English, it's very important to have good intonation. You don't want to sound like a robot. So for example, in English, we might say, what's your name? If you do not have intonation, you might sound more like this. What's your name? We don't talk like that in English, so make sure that in your speaking you have some good intonation. I will also be listening to see whether or not I can generally understand what you are saying. And I'll also be listening for your use of vocabulary. Hopefully you can use some of the new vocabulary words that you have learned from Unit 1. You may want to go back into your book and look at the vocabulary review list on page 25 in your book and try to think about incorporating some of those vocabulary words into your talk. Let me know if you have any questions about your first video assignment or your speaking assignment. I would love to help you or give you some advice. And I'm sure that you will all do a great job on this first assignment.